Translation is difficult because you often do not get that original flavor, but I try to, bring it as close to it as possible.
Teamwork Arts Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we try and go behind the thoughts that animate the actions of those who create the art. And today, someone who's put the courage of conviction into words, quite literally, because he's written about issues that have generated controversy, but were important. Those issues that are important to talk about are sometimes uncomfortable issues, and discomfort is something that Hansda is quite used to. Mr. Hansda Sowvendra Shekhar, ladies and gentlemen, with a wonderful, wonderful mask. What's the story behind the mask, Hansda?
I'll just open this and...
Yes, please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Sarthak. This mask is actually a Chow dance mask.
Right.
So, based on the characters from the Chow dance, this is a man mask. You can see the mustache here.
Yes.
And I purchased this mask from a place called Biponi. That is this organization in Jamshedpur known as Kala Mandir.
Right.
It also runs a film society called Celluloid Chapter. I'm a member of that film society and I used to go to watch films there. They used to organize the Jamshedpur Film Festival till some years ago. I'm not sure how it is now.
Right.
And I have this friend, Rupi, a very good friend. She is an author, publisher, archivist.
Right.
And she's gone to London now. And she asked me if I could get her a gift. And I was like, what gift? And she told me that I've seen these Chow dance masks. So could you please get those for me? Because she was in Calcutta and I was in Jamshedpur. So I was not very much eager to purchase this mask, but because it was for a friend and because it was from an organization that I know, so I went there and I got those masks for her. And I love these masks, so I got one for myself as well.
Excellent, excellent.
And I'm using it here.
Absolutely. And stories are what have fascinated you, and stories, in particular, stories that affect lives. When did this fascination start?
Long ago, I believe. I am an only child, and I used to have imaginary friends when I was a child. So the stories came from there, from when I was like 7 or 8 years old.
Right.
And when I entered my teens, I started writing. And that is how it all began, like when I was like, from my childhood itself, yes.
And language is also very important because you primarily write in English, but you've also, given a lot of, you've actually put in a lot of effort into Santhali translations as well.
Yes.
Because Santhali, the tribal Adivasi Santhali language is beautiful in itself, and it's got stories to tell as well about issues, especially about issues that affect daily lives and of the Adivasis in particular. Was there a particular instance that led you to do that? Or
I did not have, there was not any particular instance. Santhali is my mother tongue. And there are some works in Santhali which I read and I found them to be good. And I believed that they needed to be read by a wider audience. So I translated those. The first Santhali translation which I did was Mr. Shibu Tudu's sort of a historical account of a social event which happened in the Santhal Pargana area some way back, maybe 50s or 60s.
Right.
And I thought that it was an effective work. So that is the first work I translated.
The other thing that's fascinated me about your work, and I've sort of sampled both your original writing and the translated work, is the fact that translations are difficult because you're actually trying to speak in someone else's voice.
Yeah.
And you have also developed a very strong voice of your own. Is there sometimes, for lack of a better way of explaining, seepage of one into the other at some point of time? Is that a difficult line to maintain, or is it that that line is purely imaginary?
I'll start with the translation part first. Yes, translation is difficult because often it is there's a Santhali poem I was translating The poet is Chinmaya Hansda, and she wrote this poem about kids dying of Japanese encephalitis in her village in Odisha. And that poem was sort of written like in the voice of a child, like how would a child see and describe those events, those deaths. Uh, Death is a very huge thing, and to see it through the eyes of a child. So that was one thing which appealed to me about Chinmaya's poem. And the original poem was written in like rhyming lines.
Right.
And this rhyming line and that childlike curiosity about the deaths and the disease, that I couldn't find in my translation. So in that way, translation is difficult. I'm trying to translate a Hindi story right now. I've also translated from Hindi and Bengali into English, and I'm trying to translate a Hindi story now. And it has a lot of words which I need to look up on the internet, like what does this word mean. So in that way, translation is difficult because you often do not get that original flavor. Sure. But I try to, bring it as close to it as possible.
Sure.
And the Sarthak, now I'll come to the voice part.
Yeah.
My voice is like, I think I'm very chatty, gossipy kind of a person. And that sometimes flows into my translation works also, like the original author, they may not be chatty and gossipy. Their work may not be chatty and gossipy, but when I read their works and then I find that there is humor in it, so I just get carried away. Like if there is a beautiful work which you're reading in a different language, it tries to, and because it's written word, so it tries to create pictures in your mind. In my mind, written work always creates pictures. Like I was there with Meena Kandasamy yesterday, and we were discussing Tamil songs. There is this very beautiful Tamil song I like, Unna Kulnan by Bombay Jayashree. Okay, and it is from a film starring Jyotika.
Okay.
And she was explaining, I told her I love this song. And she told me, do you know what it means? And she started translating it there. We played that song on YouTube.
Right.
She played one line, paused it, and she told me that this means this means this. And I was like, and I was going like,
lost.
yeah. I was actually, because I don't understand Tamil.
Sure.
But Meena was explaining those things to me.
Yeah.
And I was imagining those lines playing in my mind, like what must be happening, what must be happening.
For sure. For sure.
Okay, so this is what written work does to me. It creates images in my mind.
Sure.
And when I find that those images are really very beautiful or, very effective, not just beautiful. It can be sad as well, but powerful, effective. So then I get carried away and then I just go with my own flow. And then after having finished translating that part, I realize that no, this is not what the author might have meant. Yeah. And so then I go correcting it.
Stories, of course, are based on ideas, Hansda. And ideas in these times are becoming more or less tools to serve certain narratives that are being built. No? And does that ever hamper the way that you write or the topics that you choose to write on?
It does. Till Adivasi Will Not Dance happened in 2015, or rather the controversy around Adivasi Will Not Dance happened in 2017. I was just, I was just trying to speak what was in my mind. But after that, yes, it does. Yeah, nowadays I'm like weighing.
Yeah, I was about to ask
that,
before writing, do you second guess how it will be received? Is there a double checking of ideas, etc.?
Yes, it does now.
Would you call it fear as well?
Hesitation, yes, not exactly fear, because there's no point in being afraid.
Sure.
But yes, hesitation, yes. And hesitation can be for a number of things and not just fear.
Sure.
Hesitation can be also because of, not using the right words, not using the right sentences which might be, grammatically right, spelling mistakes and all. Even that would cause you hesitation. So what I do nowadays is, after having written work, I send it to some of my friends who I trust. I tell them I have done this story, I've done this essay, and this is for this, and this is for this. I give them a background, and then I tell them, you read this piece of mine, and then you tell me honestly what you think about it. So
Yeah,
that's what
thinking,
I
I
do.
think is, I've been asking this consistently to authors that today information and knowledge, the line between them is getting increasingly blurred because there's just so much passive information out there that
So much,
the
yeah.
effort of, to me, knowledge is an active pursuit, isn't it? You get information that is passive and
Yes.
then you work actively towards converting it into knowledge, but more and more information is being passed off as knowledge. Do you think,
More and more unfiltered information.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Do you think that is detrimental to the creation of art in any sense?
There can be a nice story about what you call it unfiltered information about. So I wouldn't say detrimental because art, it's all about being inspired,
Right.
all about creating.
Right.
So if unfiltered information in some way tries to give birth to to a very powerful essay or a powerful story, it isn't detrimental. But yes, when you look at the entire society or the effect that this unfiltered information has on all of us, then it's detrimental.
But do you think second guessing, as you said, that now you're obliged to sort of send it to other people to read, etc., etc. Would you call that shrinking of the creative space?
I wouldn't call it shrinking of the creative space. I'll just call it being practical. I'll just call it being practical because my friends, they do not just tell me what they think about the contents of the work. They also sort of critique that work in in a constructive manner, and they tell me this sentence is not right, or maybe you should have explained this thing more. You are giving a lot of explanation towards the end of this work, while you should have provided all those information in the beginning of the work itself, so that people might understand what you're talking about. So I get all these inputs, and yeah, it is a practical thing to do, not shrinking.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of a natural progression to the next question I was about to ask, which is that what's the practical advice that you'd like to give to people who are writing right now and trying to find their own voice? Because you seem to have found it in a sense. And also
Wait. I really haven't found my own voice. I'm just experimenting with voices.
Okay, sure. So what would your advice be to people who are on that same journey as yours?
To anyone who is writing, to anyone who is creating art, creating literature, I will tell them to have patience. Because you cannot gain, a story or an essay or a song in just one go. You have to keep on creating several drafts, 3-4 drafts, maybe 4-5 drafts. And then when that work is ready to go out into the world, when it is actually complete, you will understand, you will know it automatically that yes, now it looks perfect, not exactly perfect, near perfect. Now I can show it to others. Now, if I send it out to others, less people will hate it. So, and this also happens with me. Like, I'm not satisfied with just 1 or 2 drafts. I just keep on writing.
Sure,
yeah.
That's important. Patience, and if you have the patience to listen to this, there's a lot that you can take away from this conversation.
And Sarthak, there's one more thing I want to add to
Yes,
this.
please.
At this point, I have written how many? 6 books already. Okay, so if I send a pitch to anyone, once I've written something and I send a pitch, I can be sure that yes, I will receive a positive, reply from that particular editor or that particular person to who I have sent this proposal. That yes, you may send your work to me and I will read it and see how it is. This is not possible for people who are writing for just starting out. So that is a privilege which I have, and I acknowledge this. And because of this, I try to remind myself that I'm still not better. I will be better if I keep on trying, keep on creating new drafts, keep on creating new versions. So it is this, that you cannot be happy at once all of a sudden. You have to keep on repeating the procedure and keep on working on it in new ways and have patience. That's all I can say.
Words of wisdom. You got that. You write that down, and if you want to write things down, That's how you do it. Hansda Sowvendra Shekhar, thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you, Sarthak. Thank you.
If you enjoyed that, do let us know. Subscribe, comment, you know what to do. Follow us on social media, of course, that's important. Teamwork Arts Podcast is what you're listening to. And remember to think a little about what you've heard, because that's a good activity to start with. Thank you very much for listening to the Teamwork Arts Podcast. What's going to happen next? Well, for that, you just have to follow us on social media, won't you? Thank you for listening. This is the Teamwork Arts Podcast.